Good day, everyone. So today I'm going to share to you a discussion which is all about factoring. So basically, this is the very fundamental thing that you should know in algebra. And in my class, I want you all to have a final answer which is in factored form. So basically, it should be in simplified form. So let's start with So let's have common factors. So we have ax squared y minus axy squared is equal to axy quantity x minus y. How does thing happen? So basically, when you say common factor, you need to get the common variable, common constant to each term. So for this term, all right, and for this term, for the second term, the common factors they have is a, right? You have a for the first term, then you have a for the second term. You have x for the first term, and then you have x also in the second term. You have y for the first term, and then you have another y for the second term. So therefore, the common factors here are axy. So you need to factor it out to the expression, and then quantity, right? X. So yung mga naiwan, which is you have X, right? And then you have to retain the operation, which is minus symbol or in subtraction. And then for the second term, the one na naiwan is only Y. So therefore, your answer in factored form is AXY, quantity X minus Y, quantity. So let's have another example to further understand what is common factor. So here you have 6axz squared minus 15a squared x plus 63acx squared. So here you need to check what are the common factors that you have for each term. So you have 6 here and then you have 15. You have 63. So the common or the greatest common factor nila is 3. So you could factor out 3, right? Then you need to put an equal sign here. So this is equal to 3, factor out say 3, and then we could factor out a because it has a for each term. So you could factor out a and you could factor out x, right? Because there's x for each term. And what else? Okay, only 3ax. So quantity, right? Then yung mga naiwan. So we have 6 divided by 3, that's 2. And then you have to factor out a and x here. So naiwan is z squared, right? Minus, right? 15 divided by 3, that's 5. And then factor out mo si ax. So ang naiwan is a, only a. And then 63 divided by 3, that's 21. So you have 21. 21. Factor out si A, factor out naman si X. So, ang nabilin is CX. So, this is now our final answer. You need to box your final answer and affix your signature next to it for every item. Now, next, you have 4xz squared all over quantity 5x plus y quantity squared minus 9x squared z squared all over quantity 5x plus y quantity. So for this expression here, or for this example here, the only thing that we will do is to simplify or factor this out, right? No operation will be involved, but we need to just simply factor it out. So let's try to check what are the common terms for both numerator and denominator. So for the numerator, you all have x for each term. So you have x, and also you have z squared for each term. So you have x, right? And then you have z squared. That's for the numerator. How about the denominator? What are the common terms? Of course, you have quantity 5x plus y, quantity squared on the first term, and then you have quantity 5x plus y on the second term. So the common term is the 5x plus y. So you could factor that out. So you have 5x plus y. Then quantity, all right? So what's being left on the 2 expression here? So you already factor out xz squared for each term. So you will have left by 4 for the first term. So I'll just write it down. 4 for the first term. And then for the denominator, you already get 5x plus y. So because this one here is already raised to 2, so nagkuha man kag 5x plus y pod, so isa na lang nabilin instead of 2. So you just simply put 5x plus y, right? Then minus, right? On the second term, you will have 9, right? And then you get rid of x1x and then z squared. So the only term left is x for the numerator. And then nakuhaan man ni mog 5x plus y. So therefore, wala na kay ibutang for the denominator. So it just simply 9x. So if you try to check, if you try to distribute each term here, x z squared all over 5x plus y to each term, distributed to each term, you should get this value. Again, our goal here is just to factor out the common terms, right? Now let's have grouping of terms. So basically from the root word group, so you need to group the common terms here, right? So for example, you have ax plus ay plus bx plus by. So the thing that you need to do here is to group yung term na merong a. So you have ax and then ay, then plus bx plus by, right? And then you will factor out the common terms for each group. So you have a quantity x plus y plus b quantity x plus y. And then the common term here, right, for each term, common factor for each term is x plus y. So you could factor that out. So factor out x plus y. So you will have now x plus y times a plus b. So to further understand this, let's have more example. So here, let's have am minus 2bm minus 3a plus 6b. So we are going to simplify the expression using grouping of terms. So the similar terms for this expression is am and then 3a. So to those who has a on it. And then we could group 2bm and then 6b. So with that, we will have now am minus 3a, right? Then I'll just simply rearrange it to bm, then plus 6b. So here, for this term here, I could factor out a. So for that one, I'll factor out a quantity m minus 3. For this term here, I could factor out negative 2b. Okay, so I will factor out negative 2b quantity, right? The one who is left here is only m. And then, because I factored the negative symbol, so I need to change the sign here. So I have negative or minus, right? 6b divided by 2b, that is equal to 3, right? So I have 3 here. Now, I could factor out m minus 3 because for each term, right, it has m minus 3 on it. So I could factor out m minus 3, right, quantity times the ones who are left are a minus 2b. Now, this is now the final answer. So now let's move on to the difference of two squares. So to factor the difference of two squares, you need to apply this formula here. So you have m squared minus n squared, which this one here is equal to quantity m plus n quantity times the quantity of m minus n quantity. So if you try to remember, I think we talked about special products. This is just the kabaliktaran sa special products ninyo. Now let's have some examples to further understand this. Right, so we have quantity 64z to the fourth minus 16y raised to 6 quantity as our example, the first example that we have. So here, if you try to check the terms, these terms here fits to difference of 2 square. So if you try to square 8z to the second power, right? This one here is equal to 64z to the fourth. Retain the operation. So because it's the difference of 2 square. So if you want to get the square of 4y raised to 3, the result will be equal to 16y raised to 6. So as you can see, you have difference of 2 square, right? Na category. So with that, we will have now 8z squared, right, according to the formula, plus 4y cubed times 8z squared minus 4y cubed. So this expression here should be equal to the given. Now, here, let's have quantity 5x minus y quantity raised to 2 minus the quantity of x plus 2y quantity raised to 2. Again, you have two terms, tapos gi-square siya, and then na ay minus symbol, so it will fall to the difference of 2 square. So here now, let's try to get the factor. So you have 5x minus y, right? That's the quantity, right? Plus x plus 2y, right? That's the first expression or the first factor. And then we have our second factor here, which is 5x minus y, right? Minus quantity of x plus 2y quantity. Right? Let's try to simplify if we can. We have 5x minus y plus x plus 2y, right, inside this first factor, and then we have our second factor. We have 5x minus y minus x minus 2y, right? So we will have here 5x, you have 6x plus 2y, minus y, plus y na lang. So you have y. Then the quantity of 4x minus 3y. So this is the final answer. Because we still can get the simplified form by doing combining like terms for each factor. And this one for number 1, this is the final answer. Now let's have the trinomial, which is a perfect square. So a trinomial is a perfect square if the first and the third term are perfect, and the middle term is twice the product of the square root of the first term and the third term. So perfect square ito, yung perfect. So if for example you have x squared plus minus 2xy plus y squared is equal to the quantity of x plus or minus y quantity squared. So this one here is also the kabaliktaran ng special product natin. So here is an example for trinomial, which is a perfect square. So we have quantity x plus y quantity raised to 2 minus 4c times x plus y quantity x plus y plus 4c squared. So according to the trinomial, which is perfect square, dapat yung first term nyo is a perfect square, also the second term, which if you want to get the roots of it, it's 2c, right? So if you try to square it, it should be equal to 4c squared, right? So, and dapat daw yung midterm nyo should be equal to the product or twice the product of your first term and the second term. So here, you just have x plus y here, and then you have 2c, just simply 2c here. So if you have x plus y times 2c times 2, you will get 4c, quantity x plus y. So therefore, this example here fits to the trinomial, which is perfect square. And then you have a negative sign here, therefore the operation should be subtraction. So therefore you will have quantity of the quantity of x plus y, right, minus 2c, right, 2c quantity square. So you could write it like this way. X plus y minus 2c quantity square. So this is now the final answer. So here, you have another one. You have 36x squared minus 36xy plus 9y squared. So according to the rule, sa category natin, we have trinomial, which is perfect square if yung first term nyo, right, ang first term dapat, yung first term kay perfect square and yung second term is a perfect square. So if I will have 36x squared, so 6 times 6, that's 36, and x squared, so x raised to 2. So therefore, the first term nyo, right, the first term should be 6x. Then quantity square, you could get 36x squared. Right? So perfect square, siya ni 6. Then 9y squared, yung perfect square niya is 3y, right? Kung perfect square ni 3y is 9y squared. Then according to the rule then, dapat yung midterm this twice sa product ni first term and the last term. So that will be 6x times 3y. You will get 18x. Then times 2, kaya twice man, you get 36xy. Right? So therefore, it fits to the trinomial of which is perfect square. So therefore, you could make use of the formula. Now, you will have 6x, right, minus, kasi minus ang operation here, so you need to make use of the subtraction operation. So 6x minus 3y quantity square, right? So if you will try to expand this expression here, it should be equal to this expression. So this one here is the final answer. Now let's have this one, a trial and error method. So if a trinomial, which is not a perfect square, but follows the form x squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c is equal to 0. So you can get the factor by doing trial and error. So you need to have this form, quantity x plus 1 minus plus or minus m times the quantity of x plus 1 plus or minus m quantity. So with that, you need to guess what is m and what is n. So with that, Let's have an example to further understand this. So here, let's have this one, x squared minus 7x plus 12. So in trial and error method, you need to get first the factors of 12 or the last term. So the factors of 12 is 4 times 3. So you have negative 4 times negative 3. You could have 12 times 1. You could have 6 times 2, right? So you already have the factors for for the last term, which is 12. Now, the next thing that you need to do is to check your midterm. Your midterm has a constant value of negative 7. So, from the factors that you have here, you need to get the factors na if you try to add them, negative 7 ang makuha. Which is ito. Negative 4 plus negative 3, that will be equal to negative 7. So therefore, negative 4 and negative 3 is the perfect one, right? The perfect value. So now you will have, because our first term is x, I mean the variable is in x, so you have x, right? Quantity x minus 4 times the quantity of x minus 3. So if you try to expand this one, this will be equal to this term here. So this is the final answer. For the next one, we have 2x squared plus 5x plus 3. So with this example here, you have to make use of the trial and error method because, again, we don't have 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 na categories that I've mentioned a while ago for the factoring na topic. So here, the thing that we need to do here, we can make use of this method. Usually, they will just try what fits to 3 or what fits to 5 na way. But now, I'll teach you how to do it in an easier way. So you have 2x squared. Then I will try to um, decompose this, right? Hation ako siya. Ang 5x, I could have 2x plus 3x plus 3, right? This is still equal to 5x, and then I have 3 and I have my 2x, right? And then, grouping of terms, I will do grouping of terms. So I could group this, and then I could group this. So I will have to factor out 2x, right? Then I will have x, right? 2x, I factor out 2x, so 2x squared, factor out ko si 2x, so I just have x here plus 1. Then, on the second term, I could factor out 3. So, I have 3 quantity x plus 1. And with this one, these two terms here, the common is x plus 1. So, I could factor out x plus 1, right? And then, I have left by 2x plus 3. So, this is now the factor form. So we have here the sum and difference of two cubes. Similar to your special products, kabaliktaran lang ito. So you have a cube plus b cube is equal to the quantity of a plus b, quantity times the quantity of a squared minus ab plus b squared. So if you have an subtraction operation for this, simply you just change the symbol or the sign. So, or the operation. So, you have a minus b times the quantity of a squared plus, quantity of a minus b times the quantity of a squared plus ab plus b squared. So, to further understand this, let's have an example. So, here, let's have have some examples. So you have 40u cube minus 625v cube. As you can see here, we don't have any value that is ang perfect cube niya is 40, and then same thing with 625, 625. But then if we will try to get the common factor here, which is 5, so factor out natin si common factor, which is 5, then we will have 5 times the quantity of 8u cube minus 125v cube. And as you can see here, class, the perfect cube of 2u is equal to this one. And the perfect cube of 5v is equals to 125. So therefore, we could make use of 2u as our first term and 5v is as our second term. So you have 5 times 2u minus 5v, right? Times the square of the first term according to the formula that we have. So the square of the first term, which is 4u squared, then minus man ito, so dapat plus, and then multiply this one, 2u plus times 5v, alright? I mean 2u times 5v, so we have 10uv, then the square of the last term, so which is 25v squared. So this is now our final answer. So let's have the next one, which is, it is 27p cubed plus q3 plus q3. So here, as you can see here, you have 27p cubed. So the cube of 3p is equal to 27p cubed. So therefore, we could write 3p as our first term, and then plus cube ng q is q. So you, the perfect cube ni q is q raised to 3. So you have to put q here times the quantity of the perfect square of 3p, or the first term. So we'll get the square of 3p, which is 9p squared. Then multiply nyo yan, minus, kasi may plus man ito, minus 3pq plus the square of the last term. So this is now the final answer. Alright, let's move on to sum and difference of two odd powers. So if you have a to the fifth plus or minus b to the fifth, this is equal to the quantity of a plus or minus b quantity. Then quantity of a to the fourth, the plus minus a to the third power times b plus a to the second power times b to the second power plus or minus a times b raised to 3 plus b raised to 4 quantity. So here, class, on the next factor, yung first term kay decreasing, yung second term naman is increasing. As you can check, yung exponent niya. The exponent. So for example, let's have this as our example here. You have a raised to 7 minus 3 raised to 7. So with that, you need to get a, then minus 3. Alright? A minus 3. Then, times, kasi 7 siya, so minus 1 ka na. So 6 na yung exponent nito. So you have a raised to, una mong isulat si first term. So a raised to 6 plus, right, a raised to the fifth, then times the second term, which is negative 3, plus a raised to the fourth times the second term na raised to 2, plus a raised to the third power times the second term na raised to 3, plus a raised to the second power times the second term raised to 4, plus a lang raised to 1, so I just write a here, times 3 raised to the fifth, Then, lastly, plus the last term, negative 3 raised to 6. Right. So, let's try to simplify. So, you have a times, the quantity of a minus 3 times the quantity of a raised to 6. So, negative 3a to the 5th plus na siya. So, square man ito. So, it will have 9. So, plus 9 a raised to the 4th minus 3 times 3 times 3 is 27 a cubed. There's this one here raised to the 3 raised to the 4th that is equal to 21. So, that's plus 81, sorry, 81 a to the 4th. Sorry, second power, a to the second power, plus negative 3 raised to 5, that's 243. So, 5 man, so atong sign is negative. Okay, odd man siya. So, minus 243, right, a, then plus 3 raised to 6, that's 729. So, this is now our final answer. So, let's have this one. Sum and difference of two even powers. So, kung ang sum of two even powers which can be factored as sum of two cubes, for example, here we have a raised to 6 plus b raised to 6. So we could rewrite it as a raised to 2, right, cubes man. So quantity 3, this is still equal to a raised to 6 plus the quantity of b raised to 2, quantity raised to 3, which is this one here is still equal to b raised to 6. Now, with this one here, according to what we have learned previously, if you have this kind of um, values here, pwede natin gamitin si sum and difference of two cubes. So with that, we will have, okay, plus 1 yan, so we have a squared plus b squared, then times the quantity of square of the first term, so times a to the fourth, then multiply mo yan, minus, plus man yan, so minus a squared b squared, right? Then, the square of the last term. So we will have b to the fourth. So this is now our final answer. Right? And how about if the difference of two even powers which can be factored as a difference of two cubes na ta. So with that, for example, again, we have a raised to 6 minus b raised to 6. We could rewrite it as a raised to 3, right? Times, quantity raised to 2 minus b raised to 3, quantity raised to 2. Again, this one here is still the same with this one, and this one here is still the same with this one. So with this one, alright, if we try to check, this one here is equal to a cube minus b cube, right, times the quantity of a cube plus b cube, right, according to the special product that we have on the previous discussion. So with that, right, our goal is to have it in a factored form. So with that, here, a cube minus b cube is similar to this part here sa sum and difference of two cubes. So we will do sum difference of two cubes. So we will start at a minus b, alright, sa pinakauna, a minus b. So kung minus, dapat i-multiply siya sa square of the first term plus multiply si first term mag second term, AB, then plus the square of the last term. And for this one, alright, same thing, sum of the two cubes tayo. So we have a plus b times the square of the first term minus multiply si first term mag second term plus the square of the last term. So we could rewrite it as a minus b quantity times a plus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared times a squared minus ab plus b squared. Right. This is now our final answer. Now let's have this one. Expression that can be reduced to difference of two squares. So this is an example of an expression na dili mo matanaw dayon kani ang factors ani. So we need to reduce it, change it, or make some way to make it as a difference of two squares. So with this one, we have x squared minus y squared minus z squared plus 2yz. So the thing here is to rearrange it in a way na makaabot ta kay difference of two squares. So maybe we could do y squared and then I will factor out negative sign. So we have y squared plus z squared minus 2yz, right? And then after that, I will try to rearrange what's inside the parenthesis. You have y squared minus the quantity y minus because we will need to put it in difference of 2 squared. So we have y squared minus 2yz plus z squared. As you can see here, this one here is a part of our factoring or what we have discussed or parts of special product na nato. So here, this is equal to x squared minus, square of the first term minus 2 times the first term and the second term plus the square of the last term. So therefore, this is equal to y minus z, right, quantity square. So therefore, we have this one here as x squared minus the quantity of y minus z quantity raised to 2 is now in a form of the difference of 2 square. So we can still factor this out, right? We can still factor this out, right? Square man ni, square man pud ni. So difference of 2 square gyapon siya. So this one here is equal to x minus yz, right? Then times x, yung first term, this is the first term and this is the second term. X, this is plus na. Kasi minus man to. So, plus na. Then we have x plus y minus z. Right. So this is now the final answer. So here, expressions that can be reduced to difference of two cubes. So for example, we have 3 times x raised to 6 minus 3. So with this expression, we could factor out 3 from this operation here. So we have 3 times x raised to 6 minus 1 quantity. And then, if we could rewrite it, ang ating gawin is to go to difference of two cubes. So this is now equal to 3 times, we could have x raised to 3 quantity square minus 1. So according to our special product, we could expand this as a factor of 3 times x cubed plus 1 times x squared minus x cubed minus 1. Then now we have the difference of two cubes na, right? Sum and difference of two cubes. So this for this one and this one, kasi the cube of 1 is 1. So we just simply have 1. So we have 3 times x plus 1 times the quantity of the square of the first term minus x plus 1 times kanina pod x minus 1 times x squared, square of the first term, plus x plus 1. Right, so this is now the final answer.